Luke does love big bootied Latinas. This is a well known fact.
I prefer bodacious blondes.
Oh, yeah. I do notice Luke does have a thing for blondes. I have noticed in his selection throughout the years, they seem to all kind of skew one way. But what about AOC?
Blondes have more fun.
They're also crazy.
Ain't no knocking AOC's, little, fupa chubs.
She's getting a little chonky.
Ain't no hate.
Yeah, no hate.
You gotta appreciate.
Yeah, I understand. What do you make of, I don't know if you followed this, Hannah Claire, like her entire story about being a Bronx, I'm from the Bronx and we're strong and we eat boys from whatever other borough for breakfast. All of that seems to have completely fallen apart as the world has now, found out, well, you're actually not from the Bronx. You grew up privileged. You grew up, I wouldn't say she grew up in luxury. This is the house she grew up in.
This is the thing about AOC. First off, this would come up from time to time. In fact, when I worked for Timcast, I knew there was someone on staff who had a yearbook with her picture in it from this town, from what I remember. I mean, it was never a secret that her ties to the Bronx were sketchy. But I think one of the questions has always been like, well, like people from New York move in the city, move out of.
Damn it, Luke.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, this is a longer one.
Finally get to
AOC
breathe.
is trying to silence me, and I hate it.
Yeah, you're back now. They move into the city, they move out of the city. Yeah, go on.
And so it seemed like this was something they kind of like pretended wasn't that serious of a claim. It reminds me of all of the evidence of when she would slip into her black scent. She would change her voice, which depending on who she's talking to, which, by the way, I loved seeing mainstream media cover that with Mom
They
Donnie.
got Mom Donnie. Yeah, they did.
And so, even, I don't know if you want to pull it up, but her response to the allegation, like this was her house. I agree with you. It's not like she was like hiding that she's the daughter of a billionaire. She didn't grow up in like crazy elite wealth, but she seems to have grown up much more comfortably than she was willing to acknowledge. And then she comes back with like,
and certainly not in the
Bronx.
Bronx.
How I grew up, which is just like a total sidestep. I mean, in some ways that's impressive that you would be like, hey, you're not from the Bronx. And they'd be like, my mom cleaned houses. Like, okay, but where, team?
Right, not in the Bronx.
Yeah, I grew up in New York City, and for me, she grew up like she might as well have grown up in Canada. Anything north of the Bronx was Canada. She was in the very affluent, very white type of neighborhood that was not the Bronx. The Bronx was known for being cutthroat, ruthless, and just an extremely dangerous place that you just didn't go if you didn't know anyone there. There was no reason for you to go to the Bronx. It's like, oh, you go to the Bronx, you get $1.50. I'm okay. I don't want to go to the Bronx. I'm all right.
I grew up in Connecticut, to the Bronx, like a couple hours from New York. What I always thought was funny is like I have friends whose parents started off, maybe they were born literally in New York City, but very shortly thereafter moved out, right? And so they were raised out of state their entire lives. And occasionally when they were trying to have clout, they'd be like, oh, I'm a New Yorker. And you'd be like, no, you are not. It's not the same thing. You can't just say you're a New Yorker because you were born in a hospital there and then immediately left. And I feel like that's sort of the effect of what she's been trying to say for a long time, that it's not just that she's like working class, it's that she's from this very urban environment. And, like when she was like, oh, I'm proud of being a bartender and acting as if people were talking down to people in the service industry when they criticized her for it. She's a really good, like she's a spin queen in a lot of ways.
But, do you think, Hannah Claire and then Luke, that this will actually hurt her? It just seems like, there's that big expose, like, what was it, earlier this year, or late last year, where it was like, AOC has only spent like 3 days in her district since, like, the only thing she did was show up and blow up that Amazon deal, which people actually wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is she just ingrained now? Because, Mom Donnie is also like AOC on steroids. Like, he is also a total fraud. But, like, people still went out and voted for him in droves. Will this actually hurt her? How far does New York have to sink before these losers actually get voted out, I guess is my question.
I think she's still riding the wave of being like a young progressive. I mean, I have at times predicted that she'll be like Nancy Pelosi. She just lives and reigns in Congress forever. She can't go any higher. Like the highest she could aspire to right now, in my opinion, is potentially, leadership in the House of Representatives. Not a bad thing. I mean, you do have a role and affluence. But anytime I hear someone say, "Oh, she's going to run for president," I don't believe it. In part because she is like a slowly dimming flame here. Like
I don't think her clout is what it used to be, right? I think her clout is not what it used to be.
No, it's not. And again, like she wasn't like so revolutionary that she continued to have fans. She's just kind of young. She has a social media following. I think in some ways the media knows to look for her for a quippy soundbite whenever a Republican's doing something they don't like. But it's not like she is this like nuanced, interesting, bright politician who's really changing the world, like for better or for worse.
I don't think has she even gotten anything passed? Anything she's sponsored? If she has it, I mean, the Green New Deal had never happened. That's what most people think about when you think about her. So, I mean, Luke, as a native New Yorker, is there any saving New York
to be filled with more crap?
Well, that's part of the problem, isn't it? Like, was it the mayor of Boca basically came out when Mamdani won? He's like, "Hey, come to Florida." Like any normal people, they just get the hell out of New York City.
Yeah.
Anybody who has the money,
sociopath. It was just hilarious seeing all these right wing influencers being like, "Please vote in Andrew Cuomo, please."
I know. Well, that's was anybody even surprised that dude won?
Groper,
yeah,
grandma killer, Meatball Groper, please, we need you, save us. And I'm like, you're disgusting, all of you guys. I mean, that's the two candidates there. We have Bibi Netanyahu's lawyer versus Mamdani.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But I mean, isn't it true that like still one of them is going to win? Like one of them, Mamdani's going to win, isn't he? My confidence level is like 85%.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, most people are registered Democrats in New York City, so he pretty much has the go ahead here. I mean, I don't see a lot of people voting independent. It's just not going to happen. New York City always has been in a total downfall ever since 2001. I mean, we had a few years where it was like okay, but really, I mean, the quality.
The 90s were okay in New York. It was kind of booming then.
The early 90s were very violent. That's when I moved into New York City, 1993. They're very violent. Then they got a little bit better. And then Bloomberg just corporatized it and sanitized it and destroyed any type of kind of legitimate life there that people could have and just replaced all the mom and pop shops with CVS, Starbucks and Chase Manhattan banks. And I'm like, really? This is all we have now is just this corporate onslaught?
Bill the Butcher was the hero in that movie. Bill the Butcher was the hero in Gangs of New York. Bill the Butcher. Have you ever seen Gangs of New York, Luke?
I haven't. Tell us.
Highly recommend. Watch it tonight. There were a bunch of immigrants coming in, and it's a movie starring Daniel Day-Lewis, probably top 3 all-time actors in history, and Leonardo DiCaprio. And Bill the Butcher, both of them are there's rival gangs in New York. And Bill the Butcher is heavily anti-immigrant. And he, that's obviously seen as a bad thing. But it's presented as a bad thing. But I feel like he might have been right. Now, to be fair, a lot of the garbage in New York is also local, too.
Oh yeah.
It's mostly, as Hannah Claire says, YNs that are causing all the problems there. It's not young necessarily neighbors. Immigrants.
That's true.
Yeah, your young neighbors. Is there? I mean, I would rather go back to the era of the smut houses in Times Square in the 90s than what it is now.
It was more culturally enriching. than the corporatized, sanitized nonsense that goes on now. I wouldn't wish the violence in the early 1990s on anyone because people were just legitimately like scared to even walk outside at night.
Yeah.
People couldn't wear like certain colors, and it was just ridiculous, the levels of violence and insanity that people had to deal with that there was no answer to. So I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But
they wish it on themselves.
Yeah, and they'll get it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, ultimately, New York is probably lost. We'll have to see if Mamdani gets in. It's going to be. I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to.
And he is. He's most likely going to get in.
Do you think he'll be effective as a mayor?
No, of course not.
Because that's interesting. Like his policies, I think, will be bad and be detrimental. But also, how many of them will he actually install correctly, or get off the ground? Because he does have to fight with other New York bureaucracy to get things done.
Yeah, I don't. I think he'll ultimately be a wild failure. He'll be like a one-termer. Because yes, New York has a lot of Democrats. Yeah. Like New York has a lot of Democrats. But, like, they don't have a lot of commies. Mm-hmm. They still have a lot of hardworking Democrats that are not going to put up with, freaking Muslim prayers getting put out over loudspeakers. Like, well, listen, that issue is not going to fly.
I don't know. I mean, you look at all the hardworking New Yorkers; they all moved out to New Jersey.
Well, that's the concern. Yeah,
New York. So they're
already predicting a second wave of potentially people leaving because of Mamdani. I mean,
yeah,
it will be. He'll be credited with the downfall of a lot of its tax base and capital, as well as the real estate issues they're already facing. I just don't see what his path forward is. I mean, he'll ride the social media hype, but he'll have to pay for a lot in the end. And unfortunately, regular New Yorkers, people who have grown up in New York, who've lived there for years, who really are at home in New York, they will suffer consequences as well.